Morning all. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I just want to give you a bit of an overview really on who central scanning are, the journey we've been through from the beginning, how we cope with the COVID, and just a bit of that was it really, a bit of an overview, so not a sales pitch. So my name is Godfrey. I'm the MD of Central Scanning. We provide 3D scanning, 3D printing, reverse engineering services, and 3D scanning equipment that we sell and support. How did it start really? So in 2006, I started the business up. Started off with a business plan, which was really to satisfy the bank, and it couldn't have been more different to what actually happened in reality. 150k scanner, a massive bank loan, a unit to rent, no customers. The business was basically based on 80% automotive, the business plan. Fairly quickly, I managed to create some customers, get work moving by spending 5 or 6 hours solid on the phone every day, calling different companies at a very basic website because it's all kind of quite new then. We found through the van I had, a neighbour saw it, and we picked up some work with a company called Doncaster's Group, which I'm sure a lot of people know. We worked with them for about 8 years and carried on. We still work with them a small amount now. Then another company in London contacted us, asked for a demo in central London, which was quite difficult to do, but I went ahead and did it. And that led to over £1 million worth of turnover, which really kind of helped get the business moving. I mean, that's over a long period of time. We still work with them today. 2007 came, I had my second daughter. 2 days later, I was back in London for 8 days working. So it was quite hard to kind of keep the business moving, but it kept moving. And then everyone kept telling me, you're doing well. The first 2 years is the hardest. It's really difficult, that bit. That didn't seem too bad because we had picked up some good customers. And then the 2008 recession hit. It was doom and gloom everywhere, lots of negativity on the news, companies closing left, right, and centre. We managed to kind of grow through that period. And I think main reason was we had a lot of varying customers. So we were doing work in a big variety of industries, even though there wasn't that many clients. By having a variety of clients, it kind of kept the business moving. Through that recession, we kind of grew the company, and I took on two more members of staff, which helped to keep the work moving and gave me the chance to go out and sort of sell the business more. We're now up to 10 at the moment, now currently, and we're probably going to increase again. But the work we do, and on our website, you can see a lot more, but we do anything from scanning planes for real planes for kind of parts to be fitted onto the planes. We've done some work on a Vulcan bomber, some wing reinforcements was quite a sort of cool project we got involved in. We've done a lot of historic cars. Some of those are for historic valuation, or if they're going to be recreated, sometimes they might make a replica or something that they can race. We scan the cars there to create aluminium bodies. We do a lot of work for tool makers. So we scan tools that are broken or that are being remanufactured in the UK that have come from overseas. Fair bit of architectural work, so historical scanning, buildings, monuments, gargoyles, all sorts of things in those kind of areas. And we do a lot of 3D printing. So we've got about 12 3D printers here now. And that can be anything from medical work, model making, fixtures, tool making, everything. So that kind of work has gradually built up over the years. But if I kind of wind forward a bit to 2019, obviously towards the end of the year, everyone started to hearing rumors on the news about this problem in China. Very quickly, it came to be our problem in the UK. And at the end of March, there was the big lockdown, which, being honest, when the lockdown first happened, there was a kind of big panic. What do we do? I think everyone probably in manufacturing and most industry thought the same. What we decided to do, we used a furlough for 2 people pretty much for not too long, just a small period. But then we kept the doors open. So we didn't fully close because we got involved in some medical work. So we're doing work for the QE. I think by keeping open, it kind of saved us really. We carried on, we didn't close. So we won a lot of work from what would be competitors, either because a couple of them actually completely closed because they were very small businesses that couldn't sustain it. And others were companies that did shut the doors. Their customers needed to continue. So we were asked whether we could help. And obviously, we could help because we were still here and still working. So our capacity was virtually 90% of what it would normally be. And we could carry on working. We invested in a webcam very quickly, and not the one I'm on now, the proper one that's in the demo room next door, so we can film live demos. And that's been a very kind of successful thing for us. We've done a lot of live demos where we sold equipment that varies from £10,000 up to kind of 30, and people have bought that just from a live demo. So that that was something that we never really considered before. So we're still doing that. We helped a lot of companies with their R&D projects. So a lot of these companies had ideas, they were going to work on projects, but they never got round to doing it. During COVID, they deployed staff and just said, look, rather than put them on furlough, they can work on those projects specifically. So we kind of picked up a lot of work in those kind of areas. I think a big thing was we kept in contact with clients. So even though things weren't good out there, we still kept in touch with them, either phone calls or emails, and they weren't sales calls. We were just saying to them, how are you? How are you coping with it? Are you okay? And yeah, sometimes that led to a kind of inquiry or, some work to do. So I think that was quite important. And we've had a few positive comments from customers that, we didn't forget them. We just stayed, we didn't hassle them. We just kept in touch. Another thing that worked pretty well was we issued customers with work from home software licenses. So what the manufacturers of the equipment did, they were allocating us licenses that we could, for current clients, we could speak to them and say, look, you're on furlough, you're at home, we can give you this extra license because people were allowed to train. They could then carry on training and upskill themselves. So when they went back to work, they're in a kind of stronger position, and that was well received. The same with demo licenses as well. So some customers that we spoke to historically that hadn't progressed, we managed to get demo licenses for them for free, and they lasted anything from 1 to 3 months. They could try the software, use it, develop their skills, and then what we've had is quite a few of those people have then come back, and when things have reopened, they've got the budget and they've now bought the software because they've been using it for that that period of time. The QE side of it, we got involved in a project making the face masks. There was a little consortium, so we were making a lot of visors. Once we had kind of made as many as we could by 3D printing, we then moved over and bought an injection molding tool and supplied a lot of those. That became a small kind of commercial venture where we're supplying them, but as soon as things got better, we just stopped to let the bigger players in that game sort of continue really. But a positive thing with that was I put a post out on LinkedIn to find someone to make the screens. We met some good suppliers from that kind of industry making the plastics, which never dealt with before. But we also sold a couple of 30, 40,000 pound scanners from people we met through there. So it kind of had its positives really, even though at the time it was hard and it seemed like we were just giving everything away. We did actually get, our money back ultimately. We invested in a lot of equipment as well. I think a lot of people kind of said, okay, they're worrying about COVID, they're not going to invest, and they sort of locked everything down. We've kind of invested in some stock. So we were buying scanners instead of buying one at a time and pre-ordering and waiting. Some of the waiting times were several months. We were ordering 10 at a time. And these are kind of units that, retail at 20, 25K. So there's big investment. But what it was doing generally before we received them, we had already built the clients up to supply them. So we were ahead of the game because we were in a position to be able to supply, whereas some of the competitors had a 3 months lead time. So, it was a big decision because we weren't really sure what was around the corner, but we went for it and that kind of worked. And then we did the same for Brexit. We pre-ordered a lot of stock for Brexit, which a lot of people have done. And that's helped us really. I mean, we've sold everything that we had. I think we've got 2 scanners, that's it left now. Additionally, we've invested in our own equipment. So we've pretty much changed our complete demo stock of scanners. And we've got new scanners out the back. And like I said, the printers, we bought a couple more printers. I think we're up to 12 or 13 now. And we signed a new hardware agreement. So during that COVID time, we were busy, busy kind of selling, but also busy setting up future sort of building blocks for the business, which at the time we probably didn't realize they were, but I think that's where they've kind of worked out. And we started, one of the big things we started doing was working with a new digital marketing agency to continue that digital journey for us, because we've been quite reliant before on SEO, and we've been through and worked with a few companies. We did some research, and the one we're working with currently it seems to be doing very well. So we're actually putting more into that investment now. So I'll just kind of close off really. In summary, the things that kind of helped us was always looking for new sectors and industries to work, because what we're always conscious of is if we're heavily into automotive, it's great when the going's good and aerospace, and some companies do brilliantly in that industry. We've always found with that it's very cutthroat for us in the world we're in. So we very much try and deal with as many industries across the board as we can. I mean, there's not many industries that we don't touch, be it nuclear, small tool makers, one man sort of companies. We don't try and aim for the big companies or the small ones. We just pick up the right work that fits what we do. We keep investing and learning in software and new technologies. I think something that we've tried to do is listen to what the clients need. So if a customer comes to us and asks us if we can do something, sometimes it's completely out of our remit. We just say no. Other times we look at it, and that's how 3D printing started. We were asked by one customer, can we print everything they've got? And then that kind of got us onto the printer. We bought one, and now that's expanded a lot. And the other thing I think that's fairly important is trying, for us anyway, not to be too focused on what competitors are doing. We like to know roughly what they're doing, but we don't get too involved in it. We don't worry that they're investing in X, Y, or Z. We just do what we're kind of doing. I mean, for 2022, we're expanding a bit. We're looking to expand the team by one or two more people, possibly doing quite a big modification to the facility we're in. And the turnover increasing, we're looking at another 25% on top. So in the COVID year, we went up by 30%, and we maintained that in 2020, 21, and now we're looking to go another 25. So we're kind of on the up really. So overall, we've survived and grown during COVID. But some of those things I've gone through quite quickly are probably the reasons that looking back at it, we think that's where we've kind of helped with that.